5, it should connect. Ultra low latency. Okay, stream's
How
up.
would I send the message to them? I can't see
Can you put
chat.
in the last chat the new stream link, or put it in the description as well?
The new, put in the description of the old one?
Yeah, put in the description of the old one and in the live chat, the new link.
Sure. I just have to get the link to it. I'm just gonna send this in chat really quick. This should be the link to the new one.
I feel like a lot of the groups had really good games going on. Which one was your personal favorite, guys?
Sorry, I'm completely absorbed in fixing this problem.
Or as long as you don't go overboard.
Oh god.
Is this gonna be your new, constantly repeated joke?
Can we kick Paul from the chat?
Admit it, guys, you love me.
Can we kick Paul from the chat?
How about no?
Let me guess. Can you say invented without that?
Yes, I vented.
Okay, it's in the details.
Hold on.
Cool. Alright, new stream link in the description and the name, and we should be good now. Thank you, Triceraman. Okay, that was weird. There's a laptop off to the side that had a different stream playing on it. It was odd.
Did you hey Nick, did you by chance put the new link in the chat or something so that way people can get into it just in case?
Oh, in the other stream chat?
I know I did.
Okay, cool. Well, if Michael didn't, that's fine.
Okay.
Oh. Trice Ramen actually asked the question, why the name controlled?
Paul, you want to answer that one?
Yeah. The idea came to me was it's based on the idea about what our enemies can do, and what happened is when the crewmates were taken over by these creatures that we named the hijackers, they're basically taking control over that person, so they lose all function and ability of their own free will, and it's kind of like they're acting under a new like leader or malevolent like being. Hence the and that's and henceforth it's what helped create the title idea of Controlled.
Basically, the hijacker would be originally parasites, but as Paul said, when they infect the humans, they would be converted into alien-like form. So.
And the main goal was to eventually wipe out the alien parasites or cure them by the end of the game.
Race. Of course, live chat. Is there any other real chat? Also, Paul, I believe your audio is... You can, like, mute the stream audio? Because it keeps playing back through our audio.
I did put mute on
Are you sure?
the live stream.
Okay, cool. We can
I
hear
think,
it. It's muted now. It wasn't before when you were talking.
Might not be.
How's that?
No, you're fine. You're fine. It was just it was playing back through your mic.
Okay.
Remember to choose live chat. Top chat is lame chat. Okay.
Sure, the stream just freaked out there for a second. Yep. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, it was. I noticed it too. So yeah, again, questions for the team, questions about the game. We're here to answer as much as we can.
Yeah, maybe we can open up the game and play it in the background too.
All right. I'll do that. We're gonna fade to black for a moment.
Dylan, you see the question from Race? I know Dylan did the
For
UI.
this game. UI.
Okay, did not think of that in question for UI as my influence. Honestly, I will say the UI.
My head.
For some reason, whenever I see sci-fi,
There's an explosion. Great.
games or something like that, I think of blue as like transparent. So there were several UIs that was influenced in terms of design, color, and all that, and I think Division was one of them because it had opacity involved and the lightness of color.
Where is everyone? Why is there stuff all
That's probably the best I could answer in terms of influencement.
jammed? Can't open it without that screwdriver.
Yeah, and I know I remember sending you references of, I think, Division when you were first starting to create those UI assets. Definitely inspired the main menu look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dylan, talk about.
Go ahead. Were you saying something, Paul?
I said, yeah, like, I'm not sure if it was you or Nick that's playing right now on the live stream, but I'm just like, yeah,
That's me.
Dylan, take him down!
That's me.
Oh, yeah, Nick, take him down!
It's quite loud.
Well, that's weird. That's weird. You took some 10 damage after the enemy was knocked down and everything.
Oh no, that was from earlier. I healed.
C4? That's too dangerous to be lying around. I better make my way to the record room and confiscate it. What the hell was you doing lying around in the first place? I swear the prisoners better not be playing
Sorry about that.
around.
Whenever I'm playing anything, I go very quiet.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's barely noticeable at all.
It's
Thanks.
only natural.
Actually, interesting thing about this level is it actually had another section to the ship where it was just an expanded prison section, and that was when we had the keypad puzzle originally. But we brought down the size of this level significantly, as well as cutting out a few other levels.
Yeah, it's based on the feedback of like our level being a little too big, and like it makes the player get easily lost.
The objective in this game, originally you're just sent to find out what's going on in the ship. That's kind of where you begin at. The objectives, Michael, you handled the core of the objectives. Would you like to explain more?
Yeah, you just kind of start off investigating what's going on, and then as you explore around the ship, you're trying to figure out what's going on with these aliens that have taken over the ship, and figure out who's caused all this. And as you make your way across to the captain's deck, over the course of the following levels, you find out what's really happening, and we have some nice final boss fights. The end of this level in particular, you're fighting one of the prisoners who was like the most infected by the parasites, and like one of the most strongest among these hivejackers. And he's basically controlling all the other hivejackers on this first level. And by taking him out, you're kind of severing the link to the other hivejackers.
Yeah, so our initial plan that we had for these hivejackers in this level was that they were kind of controlled by this boss, which was controlled by the kind of big final boss of the game. And so whenever you would kill the boss of a level, it would sever the connection that these hivejackers had from their final boss. And so it would make them it would make them more aggressive, less controlled, and kind of make it so, I believe we termed them as ferals. This one lost his way a little bit.
Basically, if you think of the basically the hierarchy system, but with lines. So the main boss, or the final boss, is the mastermind. And as what was said earlier, the mini-bosses, the master boss has connection to the mini-bosses. And the mini-bosses have connections to his minions of any kind of hijackers. So let's say you sever the mini-boss, or destroy the mini-boss. That line's gonna disconnect to the minions that it was controlling on each level, which will, as they said, turn feral, uncontrollable, more aggressive. And if you kill the mastermind, that basically eliminates the hijacker's influence from the game.
Yep, that was the original idea we were going to go with.
Yeah.
One of our plans for the enemies was that they were going to have this kind of psychic scream ability that they were going to send a basically call over the other enemies nearby them, so you would be swarmed if you got caught. But that was kind of pushed back as the kind of stealth aspect of the game became less impactful and the combat kind of went to the forefront.
And plus, the schedule we were given was caught us off guard, to be frank. But at least we learned our lessons. But it would be, I would love to actually continue working on this game if we ever get a chance, and add more levels to the game over time.
Yeah, and the game already has 2 other levels. So if anything, we just have to put them in the game, really.
And another thing is that we also created a firing range and a tutorial to help give the basic idea of how to play the game.
Originally, the practice level was going to be like a tutorial kind of level, but we included a tutorial level as if it were to tell you what it does, what you need to do, and what all does that.
Something we probably would implement later is a difficulty system to make the enemy in combat even harder. Definitely had vibes of like Dark Souls when we were creating the combat and trying to figure out the difficulty.
So we may, like Michael said, we probably would leave it as the difficulty is, but also include a harder version of the game, maybe. We just gotta work out how to implement that. I mean, with this game as it is now, we technically have all the core components we have in the game. So we could just continue working on it, but add more levels and more puzzles to make the game as we originally documented and planned from the beginning.
Just expand on the gameplay elements that we already had. And,
Oh, it looks like we got some latency problems right now.
Yeah, I was about to
Yeah, I'm
say, it looks like
seeing
we're...
There we go.
Okay, it seems to be
Apologies
taking
about that.
I do have a personal question for our group, to be frank. Are we ever gonna sell it, or just, like, publish it as a free-to-play, like on Steam or something? That's
as
my
of
kind
now,
of
it's
question.
already free to play.
Yeah, it's
True.
free to play as it is.
Yeah.
Yep, free to play.
When it's fully developed, then we'll.
Yeah, I was
have
about to
it
say,
stated.
we have to put some more holes in all that stuff, refine the game more before we consider that.
Yeah, basically increase more content. It's right now it's at the demo stage. It's just showing basically the main gameplay loop and a lot of the features.
Yeah.
So we call this alpha for this kind of stage if we were to continue developing it.
Basically.
Yeah. We got a rollback. Now we call this alpha. We gotta add more stuff, so this is alpha now.
We do have a lot that we can work on with, everything that we planned.
There's always
and we have a
improvements.
lot in
man.
the backlog.
Yeah.
Are we gonna like
just need,
increase the? Are we gonna ever like improve the prison level to being where it was, or keep it the same?
It would be
Before
nice
add.
I
to
feel like
go
for-
back and just add more puzzles and get back to the main size of the level as it was, just to create more content and to just keep adding on to it.
Or we could just make one that's called the director's cut.
Yes. Good.
Snyder cut.
the
That sounded
prison
like
block
somebody
was
was-
significantly bigger.
It
before the
was
final build.
big. It was.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of liked it
Twice the
because
size.
of all the hard work.
Yeah.
Should we move back
It's a shame
to
that they
our
couldn't see level
videos?
2.
Yeah, I definitely like the level 2.
Yeah, you can go ahead and go back.
At level 2 was supposed to be a research lab, right?
Yes.
Yep, research lab. You would have had a living quarters as well, and then I believe one more level, and then you get to the final boss.
A mess hall,
Oh,
and the
yeah, mess
living
hall.
quarters.
There was like, I don't know if you guys said it, but there was like 4 levels and one final level,
Yeah, we said that.
which was
Yeah.
the final boss. This is why when we talked about the hijacker and stuff.
Final
So-
level was supposed to be like a command room, and that was where the
Yeah.
big bad would be.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have any more questions?
Doesn't look like we have any
Don't
more
hesitate.
participants in chat.
Yeah. Don't hesitate to ask. We're willing to answer as many questions as we possibly can.
If not, we're willing to throw the pile onto Nick instead, and he'll answer for us.
Typical. Falls down to
Funny
me,
enough,
don't it?
It did feel embarrassing to see some of my relatives in the chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
I actually left the house when our game first pulled up.
Oh my god.
Because I just had a surge of just like, I can't be in this room at this moment. I
Just
had to
embarrassing,
leave.
isn't it?
My
When
family
it-
was watching it together on the couch.
Yo, we were watching it together on the couch, and I had to get up and leave. It was
The chat was really funny though. Seeing the chat actually.
okay. That's not
Oh,
not an
no.
appropriate
Whoa.
question, Race.
Whoa.
Oh god.
That's not an appropriate
no.
question
I'm
for
not gonna
this.
answer that. We're not gonna answer that, but I know what you're talking about. Especially if it's talking about portable art.
All right.
I mean, we already got the rule 34.
Oh, no.
He's-
Should we share?
Jeez.
No, we shouldn't.
He got the
Jeez.
boot again.
Michael, cease.
He might as well.
Is this talk?
We have an animation that Michael made that had our player character dancing. But we're not going to delve into that because that's not professional, and we're trying to be professional here.
Yes.
Yep. Not to mention, I feel like I need to drive to my work and get myself some pint of ice cream. Because I'm already glad that we're done with this presentation. Not
Right.
that I'm done with the actual post part, but I need a treat.
Actually, once it started rolling, the presentation wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
Yeah, what the
I was
technical
definitely
difficulties
nervous.
are done.
Did you guys see the
I was
chat?
definitely nervous, but seeing all the positive comments about our game definitely relieved some of that stress.
During the technical difficulties.
Actually, I think all for me. It was really good response, and actually, I'm happy that we got this.
Yeah, we received a pretty good response. Pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it seems like we got a lot of positive response during the live stream.
I mean,
What-
no one really said anything negative about any of the games, which
Yeah, apart from what Michael said.
Oh yeah, that.
I don't remember
Your
what you're
mother.
talking. Oh yeah.
kind of thick though.
Yeah, no, it was a game stream during that messing up. That was absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really bad. I had to explain to my parents what sussy baka means.
Oh god. Why am I even friends with you guys?
the emote
saying
spam
nothing. I
of
don't know
like
why I
the
said that to
loading
me.
thing, the loading emote spam was
Mhm.
actually started by my girlfriend. She was the first one to put the emote down. It was
Apparently, when I heard the word saucy baka, the first YouTuber that came up in my mind was Josh Stubb.
I don't know who that is.
You know Molly and Eddie and the narrator?
No.
They were the one that did like the VR stuff, especially with the green brush characters.
Anyways, our game.
They did VR games too, but they also
Yes.
have their own channel called The Boys too.
Do we have any questions about our game that we did? Anything else from chat that you're curious about? Mechanics, development wise,
AI
ideas for
programming.
yeah. Any. Wow, really trying to push that down on me, aren't you?
Maybe. You had the most stress, I will admit, when it came to programming.
Listen,
There.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
That's
I think you
typical.
had dark circles under your eyes that made you look like you were just ready to plop.
I always have dark circles under my eyes.
Oh, you stand for like 6 regardless, right?
Yeah.
Raccoon aesthetic.
Oh, Rice. Race is
All right. Thank
Right
you for
ahead
joining
of
this
that.
race.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Take it
compliment.
easy, boys.
Very much appreciate it.
But yeah, I had some brutal times, especially near the end of development. There, that was
Mhm.
that was brutal on quite a few. Of
That was
us.
high stress for everyone.
Oh yeah.
Very.
But yeah.
I don't know why, but somewhat I kind of feel like we as a group had the most stress out of all of the 9 groups.
Yeah, probably because we don't know what was happening behind the scenes for the other groups.
Yeah.
Probably.
And plus we were getting declined all the way to the last minute.
Literally at the
So
last minute.
It made our game better in the end.
Also, I think overscoped a bit.
we really did.
We did, but
Definitely.
we were able to roll it back and finish with a pretty good, presentable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be frank, by this time, if we continue developing it, it won't be overscope anymore for us, because we will have more time on our free time to at least develop the game if we desire.
Yeah.
We can develop it at our own pace.
And a large bulk of the work is still has already been made technically.
For the second
Yeah,
novel, at least.
I mean, at least at work, we won't be getting homework.
True.
Maybe.
Our free time would be like continuing developing the game of
Yeah.
ours.
Depends on the contracts, but we're not going to get into
And not to mention what your guys are going to be up to as well, because I think you guys are graduating, and I got one more semester of classes I have to finish up by the fall.
That's true.
Yeah, you do.
I got one semester I need to finish up in the fall as well.
Oh, Paul, you're not alone.
Yes, I'm not alone. I'm not going to die and be forever alone.
You won't be forever alone. We got Discord to contact, man.
I think the reason we were probably so stressed about our game actually presenting today was because when you've worked on something for so long, you never feel like it's ever going to be good enough.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
that all too well.
Yeah, that mentality.
Because I know every single big project I've submitted for this entire program, it's like, I submitted it, it's done, and I want to puke.
Yeah,
I know the feeling.
definitely. And you
'Cause it's
never
like-
want to touch it again.
Well, I want to keep
Yeah.
working on it to make it better, not submit it and be it done because I don't feel like it's as good as it could be. Nothing is
Yeah.
ever as good as it could ever be.
And something can always be improved.
There's always improvements to be made to everything. All these games that were shown today were good, but things can always be
It always
improved.
be better.
Mhm.
Everything can always be improved. However, there has to hit a point where you say, okay, we can't improve this anymore, we just have to push it out. Or else you find yourself in development hell.
Oof.
We have anybody in chat still? Anybody joining us that wants to,
I haven't heard anything from Triceratops so far. I'm not sure if he left or.
I don't
or
see him
just-
in chat anymore.
He left.
Yeah.
He messaged me about it.
I do have a question. Are you able to see who is in the chat, though?
Yeah, I am.
Like, how many, like, the people...
Currently, it
name,
says the only people in chat right now are me and Race.
And I am Ziddy, also. My name is Ziddy Cower, so I'm in the call just to see...
The race
how-
also said that
See, I
they're
don't
gonna
see you in there.
head off to bed now. So.
Yeah, so they've gone.
Should we
He's
continue
going-
streaming, or do you think we should try wrapping up?
Okay. Well, thank you, Kathy. Somebody just commented.
Oh,
Oh, thank you, Kathy.
Mom?
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy.
Kathy, if you have any questions, at least don't hesitate.
I'm gonna go mute for a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you,
you.
Kathy. Appreciate for your support to us.
Mhm.
I'll be frank, I won't be finding a job until by the end of August. Because,
The hunt begins real soon.
well, I'm going out of state
Oh, you are?
by like second week of August, because I'm going to Yellowstone.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's
I wouldn't be
But
able
yeah,
to.
I'm actually going to be starting an internship on the 9th of August at Plaza Games. I'm going to be testing some of their games.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Good job.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Why it was called
Oh,
Control?
Miss. Yeah.
Because
Oh,
basically...
you want to repeat?
Paul?
Huh?
We caught him. We caught him sleeping.
Sorry, I was dozing off. Or
Would you
got
like to
distracted up with stuff.
explain to chat again why our game was called Controlled?
Oh, sure. So the idea of the title that controlled that came from was so basically our enemies are that you face is called the hijackers, and when these hijackers have taken over Connor's crewmates, they begin to slowly lose control of who and what they are, kind of losing that free will, and they're now being under controlled by someone bigger or like like something like the leader of some sorts of our game that was supposedly planned, and basically they're now under their control, and they have to do everything that the big guy has to say, and henceforth the title Control was born.
What was the other names? Didn't we have like Hive Jacked?
That was one of them.
Jacked.
It was two. Oh, it was
Just a really muscular hijacker.
What's the name of your game?
Probably.
Absolutely ripped.
It's probably in the
feel-
document somewhere.
There was multiple my brain just went blank. I don't know why.
Names.
Yeah, there was multiple names, but I think Control was like the best 5 involved. Especially when we were originally putting a horror genre involved in this game. Which, by the way, this game is now not horror, I guess, because of how much scrapping we had to do on it.
It stopped being horror when we started to add combat in the design. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was stopped being horror pretty
I
early
think they
on.
mostly focused on the combat, and the horror aspect kind of took a back burner. But I think those elements are still there in terms of like the kind of atmosphere,
Yeah.
especially in the trailer.
The atmosphere
It's
is
very
there,
dark.
but
Oh.
If the aggressiveness was still the same when we were in testing, I think we could have left horror in there, even though we had combat.
Kathy.
Because I literally got jump scared a couple of times fighting them. And getting ganged on.
also let me.
Yeah, that's
Especially when you were
Everything
stuck in the
in here, so-
corner.
Oh yeah, I remembered. Oh yeah, I remembered like getting caught almost off guard a few times by them.
Yes.
Oh yeah, there used to be some really good placement. Those bad boys.
Weren't we
Um,
considering
You're welcome,
putting
by
like
the way.
one of them, like literally right behind the door or something?
Oh yeah, there were some like around corners and stuff. They had good placement early on, but then we had to add in some patrol points, and it kind of made them less hiding and more so walking randomly in a room, and that kind of took away a little bit from that scary aspect. But they were still. There's still a couple times where they can sneak up on you if you're not careful.
Yeah.
In fact, when I was making the gameplay for our trailer of the game, we when I went into the library for the first time, and after killing a couple of those guys in there, the second blue hivejacker that comes up, the stronger hivejacker, I didn't see him come up. So that was straight. That moment of panic there was actual reaction.
Yeah, it's you play the game so many times during the development process, and you still get jump scared even when you know that the enemies are there.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, that's why I somehow forgot that one. That's when he came out of nowhere to my left of my screen that one moment. That literally jump scared me a bit.
Yeah, I think that aspect was a happy little accident.
It was. And a good one to boot.
Got any other questions or anything for us? We'll probably only hang around for at most another 20 minutes.
Yeah,
if
so we'll be
things
going off at 10:30.
kind of stay at this pace. I mean, if we get a surplus of people and questions, I'll stay and answer as many as I can.
Yeah, I really like the way the level turned out.
Sticking around.
I just kept pushing our level designers to keep on refining how it looked, and luckily the way the models and textures came out, everything really kind of flowed together pretty well and helped
Yeah.
out in creating that environment and that aesthetic. And then when the sounds came in, it just really elevated it, I think.
Yeah, I focused, like when it came to building the level, I focused more on like structure. I added some props, but I think a majority of it was done by Dylan and Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
Yeah,
for things
and-
to the level design and the props and modular prop assets. It was definitely Michael who helped push the most.
Mhm.
I also did the weapons, which were my main 3D modeling that I did.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, on the other hand, literally went ham on all 60 props occasionally.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And when it got to it, I focused the majority on the game testing and making sure to find ways to improve the game or find any potential bugs.
Yep, that was very helpful, especially towards the end of the project when we were trying to get that green light.
Mm.
Yep.
That section of reworking all the combat was brutal.
I would imagine.
That was some late nights.
Oh yeah, I remembered you pulled some late nighters on that thing. Like you were churning through that, reworking it, breaking it down, reworking it, break it down, and build it back up.
Yeah.
You did not stop until you know it was polished and working.
Oh no,
Think-
it wasn't going to be done until I was satisfied with it.
I think there's a whole week that I have blacked out of my memory because I was just so fueled by Monster.
Oh no, we
No,
lost him, guys.
wait, no, you were fueled by Red Bull.
I was fueled by Red Bull, yes.
You would have
My
to
bad.
say non-sponsor, actually, if you were going to mention Monster.
So our viewer count went up. If you've got any questions for us, we're available to answer for now. Questions about basically anything in the project.
Michael, why are you creeping in the dark back there?
Being spooky.
I'm trying. I tried having more lighting, but
Are you the
You look like
hijacker?
you look like you're camouflaging.
it was
Yeah, I was
messing
about
up
to say,
my
like, he's definitely blending in with his beard and his shirt.
Wait, Michael, you chose to wear a black shirt. Inspiration
Yeah.
was
Black
stolen.
background in a black chair with
Oh, yeah,
black
no
facial
reflection.
hair with a black headset.
Kathy asked another question. What was your inspiration on the storyline? I think I'll give that one to. I think Paul's is probably a Paul's field.
Yeah, he was the main writer.
I feel like what inspired it was it kind of came to me in some ideas of, well, again, it was originally was going to be like have some stealth involved in it. So what the story involved was I kind of like the old PlayStation games and how like they have like very simple story but also very complex ones and how it helped build the world and the problems and situations that you go through it. I'm trying to remember correctly. I think some of it might have been inspired from maybe a little bit of like Resident Evil in terms of like how you play the game and how you solve these puzzles. And the idea of like these species and aliens and stuff was I kind of watched some little sci-fi movies and stuff, and I do like the whole like ambience of the space setting and how you're just thrown into this situation in space. Like you have nowhere to go, you have no one to turn to for help. You're just there on the space alone, and you have to like fend yourself, survive, and try to get out of there alive so you can tell everyone else.
And also,
Thank you, Mr.
For the
Dungles.
compliments.
yeah, also this space was part of the inspiration too, because it had that big lore
When
of
we
what
were
happened
first-
in this game.
You know, when we were first designing the game, Dead Space came up several times.
Yeah.
As something that was extremely similar, and we had to try and find as many ways as possible to push away from
mentioning
it.
it a few times.
We had to push away from that as much as we could. We didn't want to just make a clone of another game, after all.
Yeah, but also Alien Isolation was kind of part of not. I wouldn't say an inspiration as a reference. Cause
Thank you.
the alien on that game was really well AI'd.
Oh yeah, it's
It-
in Isolation. Yeah.
It's
Alien
like playing
Isolation was one of our-
Phasmophobia. It knows you.
in Alien Isolation, one of our first, or that was kind of one of our big inspirations when we were in the stealth phase still of our design. What was the most difficult part of this task, and how did you address it? The most
Good question.
difficult part.
What would you say, Nick?
Get. We took the entire first week was taken up with problems with source control, and I had to from the ground learn how Git worked. That's not an easy task. It was a lot more complicated than I expected, and it ended up learning that made it so that we worked better. We had a better workflow with our team. But it was a lot of trial and error, a lot of learning. Thankfully, my father is an expert in that kind of stuff. And so he was able to kind of help explain how source control really properly works and how we can use it to our benefit as of, instead of it being a detriment to our team. Which it did a couple times. We had some problems.
Oh yeah, I can confirm. I was definitely one of those problems.
But eventually everybody got the hang of it and we were able to kind of work smoothly through it.
Yeah. When I got to using GitHub last, I had to have Michael and Dylan hold my hand a little bit just to help guide me, just to make sure I do something right and I don't break anything.
And I think we still do.
Perhaps we can run through everybody's individual, what kind of their most difficult part of their tasks were. Chase, would you like to start us off?
I thought AI programming was probably the most challenging.
Well, everybody had challenges in their own respects for what they were doing, I think. But, I mean, you hear AI and artificial intelligence stuff and you think it's really difficult. Thankfully, Unreal, which is the engine that we used, had some really good tools that I was able to use to our advantage to build the AI out fairly robustly. And after they were kind of built, it was all fixing and improving, tweaking, improving.
Yeah.
Again, Chase, what was the hardest part of your tasks that you had? What would you say was the most difficult?
That's a good question. Honestly, the whole semester feels like a blur right now.
Oh yeah, that's relatable.
Oh, can I say what my challenge was?
Let's go one at a time.
Yeah.
I feel like the most difficult part for me was I think I kind of had some modeling problems a little bit of how to make sure, like, when I was UVing and cutting up the models for some of them that I was, and especially for the ones that I was helping out with, I feel like I still need to learn and figure out how to make sure certain texture areas are not stretching from the models, especially like what Michael pointed out for me when I was trying to show him my progress of it, if I was doing good on it and not, is that I need to like look carefully of where they're stretching and how I can like fix that up. And then I think also for most difficult one of all is, especially with me when it comes to spelling and grammar, I am pretty bad at that. I won't lie. So I'm kind of feel like I need to work and improve on that the most, especially if I want to be the writer that I want to try pursuing in the video game field.
All right. Anybody else?
I'll go. For me, I would say biggest challenge would have to be adding in like the modular props of the level. I mean, I say difficult, but I would say it's more along the line of tedious, because you have to like had to make sure like the props like snap together equally or properly, so they didn't like have any Z fighting issues going on. And there are also some instances where like the props sizings were too large. I think one of the reasons of why I struggled with that was because I focused too much on replicating the block out that I created for the level instead of just focusing on utilizing the normal size of the modular props. I feel like if I just focused on the modular prop sizes, I probably would have
Oh, did we lose him?
been more tolerable. Still tedious, but tolerable.
All right. Chase, do you want to go now?
So mine is updating and working with the direction system. On one hand, it was going this way, that way, this way, that way, this way. Things wouldn't interact. Things would overlap being interacted. Huge mess of spaghetti that I had to untangle.
Yeah, that was one of our places that we could definitely do improvement at. Definitely. And I'm sure that improvement will come if we continue the project.
Definitely.
Dylan?
I think the only thing that I had challenges on was the 3D modeling, and it was the pistol itself. The baton was easy enough to do it, but I think the pistol was the only thing that was challenging. Because originally we were going to make some animations for like when you have to cough the barrel when reloading, and the components, like you literally had to separate the parts of the pistol for the animation to work, which I didn't know at the time. So there was a lot of cutting out, dealing with endgons, and learning some new things that I did not even know about. I think that was the thing that was challenging the most.
All right.
And those gun animations are still in the game right now as well.
Yep. Hannah?
I think the most difficult part for me was starting out with the 3D modeling, just making sure that I had enough edge loops and stuff in the right places so that the model could deform properly when it was rigged. And just, trying to make the models look as good as it can be without, having too many polygons, or just trying to work within limitations that would to make it more efficient, I guess. So that was something that was hard.
Michael?
Yeah, and I definitely felt that when I had to rig them. There was some areas where I knew there was going to be a lot of stretching, and I was just going to have to live with it because the models were already what they were, and I couldn't go back that far as like progress wise. So during the animation process, I had to just work with what I had. But as far as like the hardest thing, that probably wasn't it. It was probably just learning how to program in Unreal, whereas I hadn't learned that much in Unreal, and I had mostly skills of programming in Unity. Then I had to learn the whole blueprint system.
Before we get to you, Jovan, Mr. Dungles had a follow-up question. Will we develop this into a full game, or does the school own the rights to what we developed? I believe the school does not own the rights.
Yep.
And if we chose to, we might turn this into a full game. I believe that's a conversation we'll have to have behind closed doors about where the game is at, what we want it to be, and whether or not to rebuild it from the ground up, which is something we have talked about before.
Of course, keeping most of
the ideas
assets will help out, and most of the ideas as well, yeah.
Just starting again from a fresh slate would help. Maybe a different perspective with the game. We've considered doing first person. For this presentation, glad we didn't, because it made our game a little bit more unique and stand out a little bit more. But down the line, first person might be what the right choices for this particular game.
Or implement both third person and first person.
Like a scroll out? Or like a switch, like how say Skyrim does it, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. That could be implemented, I think.
Potentially, yeah, it could be implemented. Definitely, is it the right choice? Potentially. Jovan, what is your hardest task, and how did you overcome it?
The hardest task for working was most likely learning Unreal. As Michael, I never really programmed in Unreal before this project. It was kind of weird going from staring at scripts to following a graph. Personally, I can see the appeal of it, but I prefer looking at scripts than following a graph. I don't know, maybe because I'm 2 years into programming, that's just how it is, but yeah. That's pretty much it, just learning Unreal while trying to program in it at the same time.
So, both Jovan and Chase actually had to learn the blueprint system for this project, and they did good in learning and adjusting to it. Thankfully,
the time frame we had.
Yes, in the time frame they had. Thankfully, we didn't touch C++, because that's not our current area of expertise, and that would have just created a lot more problems. There were some potentials where I might have had to touch it for the AI. Thankfully, we got around that.
Yeah, I think right now they're teaching us C#.
Yeah, they're teaching C# in programming, and then in the level design classes, especially level design 2, that's where you touch on the blueprints. And everything I've learned has basically been from research. It's been my own learning. So
I think we still would have had the same situation. There's a bit of overlap when it comes to C# to C++, but
oh yeah,
there's still
built off of it.
Yeah.
But still, there are things that are different. When I was looking for solutions to a certain problem with the AI, I couldn't tell that there were things that were different with C# versus C#.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised you didn't say AI was the hardest task for you.
I mean, aside from the AI was difficult.
Especially those countless hours you would spend just staring at grass that just didn't seem to work.
Yep. I talk about my AI as like I was basically in a fist fight with the AI the entire time of the project. It was a battle.
I think you almost
Street
throw up. I think
Fighter.
you almost throw up when you looked at someone else's like blueprints and stuff, like the spaghetti mess or
Oh
something. Like, I think
gosh,
you
our
almost throw up
player
at the sight of
character.
it.
The first time I looked at it, it was like because I had been so focused on the AI, I hadn't gone back to go help with the player character at all. That had been delegated to the other two programmers. And when I went back to look at it, it was bad, and it only got worse until the end, when I kind of had to step in and clean up stuff and rewrite some stuff. And thank you, Kathy. You have a good night as well.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
You have a good night.
Thank you.
You have a good night, Kathy. Thank you for your compliments.
Yeah, I mean, we did, I think, given the struggles that we had, some of the problems that we had with the project, I came out really well.
Mm-hmm. I would have to agree.
Mhm.
I agree.
Again, there's things that can be changed and improved. I was already,
Absolutely.
I'm sitting here thinking about more things to change and improve.
Same.
I was lost for a little bit while somebody else was talking, thinking about how to implement a different rolling system and how I would implement a Dark Souls style fat rolling versus fast quick rolling. So, all right, you have a good night too. Thank you very much.
You have a good night.
Yeah.
Wrap up as well.
It is 10:30.
Yeah, we could probably go ahead and wrap this up.
I think
Yeah, seems like everyone is.
on record,
Ready
does
to hop
anybody
off
have
the edge.
anything they want to say?
I guess just
I think we got
Congratulations,
this.
guys.
Chase, go first since you're at the top.
congratulations, we did it. I'm going to take a huge nap and sleep for like 20 hours.
Anybody else?
I'm
well-
definitely gonna relax tonight as well, because like this project was a little anxiety and nail biting, and definitely feels like it was a first-hand look of what it's gonna be like in the job field of when we're put into real life situations like that, and how we're gonna manage or how to like delegate the situation.
Anybody
We'll
else?
say for a fact that we probably won't be dealing that kind of stress that very often, because if you remember, certain studios would have like sections of work, like you would just be creating the 3D model, and then another group would be doing the textures.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think in the future, adjusting the way we dev is definitely going to be contributing to our stress levels and making things a lot easier for us.
It's so hard to adopt that agile method,
It's
I
definitely
guess.
hard.
Yeah.
even still.
I guess as for me tonight, I'm just gonna relax and get ready to play some Pokemon Unite tomorrow.
Jovan, Hannah?
Not much.
I'm gonna make some lava cakes and just chill.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We're probably going to go ahead and play Warframe.
Oh yeah, I've seen crossplay at some point, I believe.
Wake up,
Crossplay
Tenno.
and cross save.
I recently got back into it.
I'm probably going to
I gotta
go
get
drink.
back into it on my Switch. Oh, Michael, I'm not sure if
I'm
you
gonna
heard,
have-
but they're including cross save now for all platforms for Warframe.
Yeah.
I just mentioned that. Yeah, I definitely need to get back into Warframe. Like I have saved that up on not only Xbox but on Switch as well.
Alright, before we get into a full conversation about Warframe on stream, thank you for joining us for tonight. Everybody who is still here that attended. We're glad for all the questions that we got, and hopefully our answers were sufficient. We're really happy with how this came out, and who knows, you might see our game show up on Steam, just like some of the other games that are being planned to show up on Steam from this project.
probably
And
give
I would
us a
also like
year
to
or
say
two.
thank you for all the support and compliments you guys tell us. Like it definitely give us some confidence, and yeah, like Nick said, maybe it'll show up on Steam at some point.
Yeah.
Michael, does our team lead want to say any last words?
Yeah, just don't go overboard.
Oh,
Just
God.
gonna
my God.
throw you on the spot real quick, like y'all been doing to me this whole stream.
Thanks for joining the stream and checking out Control. I mean, just like Nick said, you might see it in the future on Steam, and I think you'll be able to look forward to that when the announcement comes. You can definitely check the website, and you'll see an announcement there about the future of the game, for sure.
Just don't know when.
All right.
Let's say stay tuned, y'all.
Yep.
Have a good
Bye,
evening,
everyone. Have a
everyone.
good night.
Alright.